This is rental car number 81, and today I'm driving the 2018 Toyota Rav4 XLE. I've never actually driven a Rav4 before, so when I saw that this was the XLE trim level, I kind of assumed that that was a high trim level, but it's actually not. It's one of the lowest that Toyota offers. Despite that, it's still MSRP is at about $26,000, and there's plenty of good stuff for us to talk about. So let's pop the hood on this 5-door compact crossover and take a look at what's underneath. So this RAV4 has a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. That's front-wheel drive and a 6-speed, I'm going to use Toyota's words right now, electronically controlled automatic transmission. That gets you 176 horsepower with some decent gas mileage, 23 miles per gallon in the city, 30 on the highway with a 15.9-gallon fuel tank. So a 4-cylinder engine with 176 horsepower doesn't sound very impressive, but if you've driven a Toyota in the last couple of years, you know that Toyota squeezes out every little bit of performance out of their 4-cylinder engines. And that's true of the RAV4. This one feels, well, almost exactly like the Toyota Camry I drove a couple of weeks ago. Really, the acceleration is decent, the handling is nice, the only difference is you're just higher up off the ground. So unless you're in the market for something super fast, I think you're going to be satisfied with the RAV4. It really is a good, decent ride. Alright, but enough of all that. Let's jump inside the RAV4 and take a quick look. So the steering wheel is a standard Toyota setup. It's basically the same thing you'll see on any new Toyota. And with this car, you get a key fob. It's a little bit small, a little bit light, but it does the trick. 3 buttons, lock, unlock, and a panic button with that Toyota logo on the back side. And since there's no key, get a push button start. It's located on the dash to the right of the steering wheel, and it's a nice circular button. And here's the steering wheel. A lot of great buttons here. On the left-hand side, you have your volume controls, along with some controls to interact with your phone. On the right-hand side, you have controls to interact with the entertainment features, along with this button right here for adaptive cruise control. And then the cruise controls themselves are just a little bit lower on their own little stick right there. Above the steering wheel, you get a nice gauge cluster, 2 big dials, and you also get a large digital display right there in the center. The screen is a great size. It's got a lot of different colors on it. It's easy to see, and you're actually going to be using this quite a bit because with the adaptive cruise control and with the lane detection assistant, you're going to see some indicators flash here quite frequently. And then shifting your gaze to the left of the steering wheel, there's nothing really shocking over here. It's all pretty standard stuff. You have your window controls, door locks, your mirror controls. The only feature I really want to talk about is the lane detection alert system. That will notify you if you drift out of your lane and nudge you back into it. It's located right here. This is just the button to turn it on and off. It really is a great safety feature on Toyota right now. And speaking of safety features, the RAV4 does come with blindside detection. It's actually located right here on the side of your mirror. You see that little icon etched in right there? Well, if someone's in your blind side, it's going to light up in a yellow color. And if you turn on your turn signal when someone's in your blind side, well, then it's going to flash at you, just to give you that little extra warning that you need to be careful. All right, let's jump back into the car. Looking up, that's not the sunglass holder. It's actually located a little bit further up. It's right here, decent size. No padding, shockingly, but whatever. You also get 2 lights to illuminate the cabin, your standard Toyota rear view mirror, and then my favorite controls, the controls to operate the sunroof. So I'm a big fan of sunroofs. I think it makes driving these cars a lot more enjoyable, but I do want to point out that this is not particularly huge. It doesn't cover the whole roof or anything like that. It's just a standard size for a sunroof. And then looking back down towards the dash, you get a nice, big, bright touchscreen right here. Toyota has included a lot of great information about the car. I particularly like the screen where you can track your miles per gallon. I think that's kind of fun. And I also like that there are nice big buttons on the left and right side to make it a lot easier to navigate through all the menu structures. You can just hit one of these buttons and jump right to the spot that you want to get to. And then below there, your climate controls. I like these a lot. Big dials to control the temperature, large buttons for everything else, and then a small digital display right there to tell you exactly what temperature you're setting the vehicle at. And then below there you get, well, I'm going to call it a storage area, but it has buttons to control the Eco and Sport mode. You can see those right here. And then you have other places where you can connect your devices. So a USB port, auxiliary jack, and then a power port in the form of a cigarette lighter. I really like this area because there's just so many different ways that you can store your cell phone. I typically kept mine in that little triangular area right there. Let me show you what I mean. Just kind of propped it up like this while I was driving, and it worked perfect. And then a little further back from there, you get your parking brake and your gear shift. Both of these work great, no complaints. And it's also worth noting that the center armrest has some storage options. You get a shelf, perfect for a cell phone or a wallet, and then you also get a large storage space, although there's no USB or auxiliary port inside. And then just continuing to talk about storage, there's also this nice little cutout right above the glove box, which I found perfect for my cell phone. There's even a little lip on it, so when you're driving, it's not just going to slip right out. And then underneath, you do have your glove box. It's a decent size, plenty of room for your owner's manual and registration. Alright, so that's the highlights of the front seat. Let's quickly take a look at the back seat to see what kind of amenities your passengers are going to be able to enjoy. First off, let's talk legroom. There's plenty back here. I'm 6 feet tall. I got, 8 inches of room, which is great. It's a pretty comfortable seat also, although it's a little bit short on amenities. So there is a center armrest that folds down that has 2 cup holders in it. And then the only other amenity back here is a small power port located towards the floor on the back of the center armrest for the front seat passengers. So not a lot of amenities for your passengers, but thankfully the RAV4 has plenty of storage space. If you take a look at this, I think this is more than enough for a small crossover like this. And what I really like is there's 2 additional hidden storage spaces back here. So if you lift up the floor, you'll reveal where the spare tire is along with some tools. And then a little further up, there's a second compartment, which I think would be a perfect place to store some additional tools as well. And then I also think it's worth noting that those passenger seats do fold completely flat, so you can convert this space to an even larger storage area. Alright, so that's pretty much everything on the 2018 Toyota Rav4 XLE. I was lucky enough to have this car for 2.5 days. I think I put about 150, 160 miles on it and was behind the wheel for well over 4 hours. So in that time, I think I got a really good feel for this vehicle. So I think I can answer the question that you should be asking me, and that's whether or not I would recommend this car to you. Yes or no? And I'm going to say yes, though it's kind of a reluctant yes. I mean, I like Toyotas. I like the RAV4, but there's kind of something missing about this one. It's just not very exciting. So while I like the safety features, I like how it drives, there's nothing wrong with the way it looks, I just don't think this is one of my favorites. But maybe you disagree with me. And if you do, please leave me a comment below. I love hearing from you, especially if I made a mistake. Otherwise, I hope you join me next time when I rent the 2018 Nissan Armada, a big, big SUV. Hopefully you'll join me then. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.